everyone. Kendall Mead with Brandt Travel. Thank you for joining us for our next virtual travel event featuring an inspiring destination that many of you have been waiting for a very long time. This is Viking Cruises' release of the Mississippi River itineraries. On this gorgeous vessel that you see behind me, you will now be able to sail the Mississippi with Viking style, service, and all of that quality that Viking has been known for in the United States. This is going to begin the summer of 22 through 2023. These are the dates that are available now for you to be considering. And I just invite you to enjoy our presentation with Lori Smith with Viking Cruises. And stay tuned until the very end so we can share with you how you can enter to win the door prize. And there's going to be a little trivia question. So enjoy.
Hello there. My name is Lori Smith, and I'm the Director of Business Development for Viking Cruises. And I'm hosting this on behalf of Brandt Travel. And I ask you that if you are interested in a Viking cruise, Brandt Travel happens to be a fantastic partner with Viking. And please, please call one of the girls to book if you're interested in the Viking Mississippi. So without further ado, there's our beautiful vessel, the long-awaited Viking Mississippi. I'm going to get started. So Viking has been planning the Mississippi probably since 2014. So it's been long awaited, and we finally launched it. We're sailing in 2022. We'll start sailing in January of 2022. So let's talk a little bit about the Mississippi. And we will traverse the 10-state system. So the Mississippi is about 2,350 miles. It's not the longest river, though. The Missouri is the longest river. But the Missouri is not as beautiful as the Mississippi. You've got the upper Mississippi, which we will traverse, and also the lower Mississippi. We're going to take you on 8 to 15 days. We have 3 8 days and 1 15-day. And of course, the Viking way with national monuments, museums, the cultural enrichment. It's really going to be the Viking way. And of course, we're going to be sailing to 15 of the most iconic cities, small towns, large cities. So really encompassing what Viking has to offer. We're not steering away from our Viking difference. And we call it the Viking difference. Destination focus, culinary enriching, wait till you get to the lower Mississippi, and carefully curated itineraries. These itineraries have been long in the making. So give you a little sneak peek of what it looks like inside. And of course, you can see this beautiful Scandinavian design here. But we're going to be modernizing the Mississippi. No paddle wheel on this vessel. We're going to bring you that Scandinavian design. If any of you have traveled with Viking before on ocean or river, you're going to see a lot of similarities of the color schemes, but also of ocean. When you step on one of our Viking vessels, we want to make sure that you know you're on Viking. So it's going to look a lot like river and ocean. Also, the destination-focused dining, the culinary experiences. Of course, classics also, but please, please indulge in the culinary experiences. Also, our award-winning staff, of course, they will be U.S., but Swiss trained. You know, as I was on Christmas markets in December, and our cruise director and our hotel manager, Andre, said, you know, I really put my bid in to come to the U.S. so I could train the staff and really look at the U.S. rivers. So they're very interested in seeing that. So this is something that's very unique for Viking, our Swiss trained staff. And it's going to be the Viking way. So you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. Of course, we have you experience Viking through local life, working world, and privileged access. And we call that the Viking way. It's not going to change. Local life can be anywhere from, we're going to take you, you're going to be able to visit the oldest bar in Louisiana in the South and have a Sazerac in there. Or maybe working world, we're going to take you to explore a family-run Iowa dairy farm. Very interesting, maybe even going behind the scenes. Or visit one of America's oldest breweries, Anheuser-Busch. But really, truly, where Viking's going to shine is our privileged access. And that's going to be, we are going to take you to a Norwegian American museum going behind the scenes because of our Norwegian heritage in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Or closer to my home, I'm actually from South Louisiana. Maybe you can tell from the accent, but we'll take you through and experience that La Carrienne experience of Cajun cuisine. You may even learn how to two-step and listen to some fabulous Cajun music. We'll visit a live living museum and go through the history of South Louisiana with the Creole heritage. So a lot to see and do. But taking you through local life, working world privileged access, we feel will give you the best of the destination. So when you come off of the Mississippi, you would have felt that you really experienced the destination and the Mississippi. So let's talk about what's included. And of course, we start with our great air promos. And, you know, Kendall and the staff can really help you navigate. Maybe you want to do an extension. And we do have one-night stays, city stays, two-night escorted stays, or 2- and 3-night premium immersion stays. I hope you choose the premium immersion stays because it's really going to infuse in the destination. But they'll help you navigate all of this. Also, one shore excursion is included in each port, and that's led by a local knowledgeable guide. All onboard meals, of course, and beer and wine and soft drinks are included with lunch and dinner, specialty teas and coffees, and that's available 24 hours a day. Free Wi-Fi, so you can stay connected and take those fabulous pictures and send them home to your friends and family. And then all important government port charges and taxes, which no nickel and diamond philosophy, which on my competitors, that is not included. So we include that for our passengers. The only thing we will not include are gratuities and that Spirits beverage package. However, Spirits beverage package, of course, is going to be very inexpensive, but also some of the room categories do have a stocked mini bar. So that's going to be really up to you. And gratuities, of course. So let's look at the destinations and itineraries. Oops, went a little bit too fast. So this is the 10-state system. And I want to point out St. Paul, St. Louis, Memphis, and New Orleans are all our turnaround points. So that's where you're going to have the opportunity to take a one-night stay, 2-night, or 2- and 3-night premium immersion stays. So you do have the opportunities in those 4 turnaround points. So our first is 8 days Southern Celebration. The next is we're going a little bit further up, Horn Delta, Memphis, New Orleans. And then we have our 15-day that will encompass the entire 10-state system, America's Great River. And then, of course, we have America's Heartland. So that's going to be the upper Mississippi. Heart of Delta, this is going to be a day-by-day play from Memphis to New Orleans and each of the days. We do have 1 day of scenic cruising on this one. And then, of course, America's Heartland. We go from lower Mississippi to upper Mississippi, St. Louis to St. Paul. Southern Celebration, I'm most experienced with this because this is all of the cities that I frequent quite often. And then St. Paul, America's Great River, St. Paul to New Orleans. So this is our 15-day, and we're calling this our flagship. St. Paul all the way to New Orleans. And there it is, that 10-state river system that you get to see a taste of all of it. So I want to take you briefly through the 15-day, and we start with St. Paul, and of course the architecture and the museums there. But we also take you through just a little bit of food history. Booyah, which is, this looks a lot like Southern to me, with the large vats of either crawfish etouffee or shrimp etouffee. But this is Booyah, and they actually have a world Booyah cook-off. It's held in St. Paul for the last 33 years. And of course, it's the stew made in these large vats. And then you have lassa, which is a flat bread. You can fill it with jams, and it's very Scandinavian. So this part of has a little bit of Scandinavian roots. And then wale, which is going to be the fish of Minnesota. So just a little bit of history there on the food. We move to Red Wing, Minnesota, And all of you are probably familiar with the Red Wing Shoe Factory, which produced all the boots for World War I and II, which was very important at the time. And we'll go into that factory and just look at some of the history there. But also we will bring you to the Bald Eagle Center there. And remember, this is a rescue center, so we'll be able to see these large birds being rescued, but also transformed to get back into the wild. And then La Crosse, Wisconsin, like I said, we're going to have one of our privileged access here, where we're going to visit one of the Norwegian heritage museums, but also along the port here. This is all lined with food trucks, and it's a fishing village right here. So, but also we take you to Grandad Bluff. So we'll see the beautiful views of Grandad Bluff over the entire city. So incredible there. And then we move to Dubuque, Iowa, and you see this paddle wheel. Of course, this is the National Mississippi Museum and Aquarium that we'll visit, but it shows the history of the paddle wheel. No paddle wheel on our Viking, Mississippi vessel, but you'll learn about the wind power and the water power of the paddle wheel. And then we move to Quad Cities. Look at this fabulous John Deere tractor. I grew up on a farm, a very small farm, and we did have a smaller version of a John Deere. Definitely not the bells and whistles that these tractors have today. I still have first cousins that are farmers in Louisiana, and their tractors have a sound system, air conditioning. They almost self-drive. It's incredible. But these inventions, you know, these tractors really modernized farming, and thank goodness for John Deere. So in the Quad Cities, we'll go to the John Deere Pavilion and see a lot of the tractors as they progressed through until today, in the early days, but also we'll go to the John Deere home. So we go behind the scenes there. And then we move to Burlington. A very, very different landscape, hilly, but beautiful botanical gardens. And here you have some of the azalea trees and the white blossoms here. But also, we'll go to the oldest military garrison, which is going to be Madison here. And Hannibal. All of you, I'll stop a little bit and let you think about Hannibal. Hannibal, Missouri, what it's known for. Mark Twain, the birthplace of Mark Twain. We'll go into his home. We'll actually see his childhood home. But the beauty of the hills and the lush greenery there. We do have on board, like Ocean, we have the Bayeux Tapestry that goes up our staircase, a replica of the Bayeux Tapestry. Here we'll have a complete chapter of the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So that's going to be a very neat thing that we bring on board from the destination. So we'll see a picture of that in just a bit. And then we move to St. Louis, and of course, St. Louis, the Arch of St. Louis. We go into the arch and see those beautiful views. When you're standing under the arch, it's a very massive piece of it's the steel, but it's really interesting how the views of the city when you're at the top of the arch, and how you can traverse the elevator, and of course once you get into the viewing center up there. So that's an included tour for us. The beautiful views of the Basilica and the cathedral, but also St. Louis, a little history on the ribs. I hope you have an opportunity to experience the ribs and the food of St. Louis, but their ribs are wet and sweet ribs versus Memphis, and we'll go to Memphis in just a bit. But they actually have a cook-off, of course, and there's always that wet versus dry, or spicy versus sweet. So you'll get a chance to have that for yourself. But this is one day of scenic cruising, low or miss. So we will have an opportunity to have a cooking demonstration, maybe taste some of those St. Louis ribs if you missed it in port, but also just to gather, maybe read a book, play bridge, but time just to enjoy the Mississippi and the beauty along the Mississippi. Then we move to Memphis, famous Beale Street, right? But we will take you to Graceland, and that's the home of Elvis Presley, of course. You'll see his house in pristine condition in the 70s, like it was left. But you have the museum that houses all of his costumes. Also, he had which is very interesting, a go-kart collection. And grown men and grown women racing go-karts through the property. And you'll see a lot of his go-karts in the food pavilion there. But his costumes were iconic, right? Elvis's costumes were iconic, and you'll hear some of his music. So it's a really interesting, part. But leave some time to meander down on Beale Street, because it's very well worth it. Of course, home of the Memphis Blues. And then, of course, there's the argument of dry smoked ribs, a little bit more spicy, versus the sweet of St. Louis. So I've got a couple of famous places in the city to eat that fabulous barbecue, and you'll have to decide whether you like dry rubbed, or if you like the wet and sweet and savory. So we get another day of scenic cruising. And of course, as you move further south, the birds of South Louisiana are absolutely magnificent in Mississippi, but also the fauna, the lush greenery. But like I said, a great place for you to just enjoy. And then we get to Vicksburg, Mississippi. And of course, Vicksburg, you have the Vicksburg, this is a picture of the Vicksburg National Military Park, the Battle of Vicksburg. But it also starts the antebellum homes. So as you move into Vicksburg along the Mississippi, you'll see these magnificent antebellum homes sitting along the river. And of course, that they moved cotton from the plantations there. But it's a great city if you want to start antique shopping. Of course, the culture. And then we move to Natchez. And Natchez is such a wonderful, quaint little town. 500 historic buildings, 200 perfectly preserved antebellum homes. In one of those homes, we'll host a lunch. And of course, we'll have that famous signature cocktail. I think I know who the celebrity chef will be. But in the springtime, you have the Natchez Azalea Trail, which I hope that you're there during the spring. It's incredible, because you have all of these azaleas that are in the deep pinks and purples and lavenders, and then it moves to white. Just the streets are lined with these azalea bushes in bloom, and it's absolutely beautiful. But a great place if you're interested in shopping, antique shopping, and of course viewing some of those beautiful southern antebellum homes. And then we move to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is an hour from my hometown. We do have an optional, a premium excursion that you will take in Lafayette, Louisiana. And that will have the great Lafayette Acadian cuisine. It's incredible, but you'll see these beautiful alligators. Maybe if you take a swamp tour, you may even learn how to two-step. There's so much more. But in Baton Rouge, we'll basically see the old and new state capitol, and of course, the very colorful lives of our governors, which is incredible. So from here, you move on to New Orleans, and of course, that's the end point. That's a stop and start point on this 15-day, or start point from Southern Celebration. There's so much to see and do in New Orleans. And I hope you spend some time there, because maybe taking a trolley car into the Garden District of New Orleans, but maybe experiencing Café du Monde at all hours of the day. It depends on if you partake in the nightlife of the French Quarter. And this is just an iconic, right? But also the food of the destination. Some of the best food is in South Louisiana, no doubt about it. But I wanted to tell you the history of shrimp Creole. This is a dish I make quite often. It has a lot of French and Spanish heritage influence. But the Holy Trinity, and I'll talk about that. And here's the recipe. I'll send it for Kendall to send to you. But this includes onion, bell pepper, and celery. I have the Holy Trinity plus one. So everybody knows that I love garlic, and I love to cook with garlic. So this is a staple with anyone that's starting a dish in South Louisiana. The Holy Trinity plus one, and that's the garlic. So a little bit of there, but it's a very easy recipe if you want to try it. So let's look at the ship and the overview of the vessel. And this is the vessel, our longship. It looks like a longship, right? But all outside cabins. Important to note that we're an adult-only product. And of course, no triples or quads. We're based on double occupancy. There's a staircase I'm talking about that we bring Hannibal, Missouri with Mark Twain and his book, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and all of the characters come alive. This is a complete chapter of Huckleberry Finn. So if you traversed this 5-story staircase, which is very easy to do, take your time, you can read the entire chapter. So just a little bit of tidbit and bringing the destination on board. This is our main dining, the restaurant. Beautiful Scandinavian design in our restaurant. And then we move to the living room, and this is really the epic center. If you've taken our Viking Ocean, this is where everything happens, our lecture series. You can play bridge with your partners, or maybe just enjoy a book and watch the river go by. We have quaint little quintessent areas for you to just mingle and sit and relax, maybe have a cocktail. And then we move to our Explorer's Lounge. Now, Explorer's Lounge is on every one of our vessels, and this is a staple for Viking. So double deck here. You've got great viewing. It's temperature controlled, just in case it's raining or it's cold or hot. But we do have a bar on each floor. And here's the upper deck. Great to see, under the stars. But we also have an outdoor. So in case you want to be outdoors, it's a beautiful night. You can certainly sit in the day or at night. So now we're going to move to the back of the vessel. So here's midship, the River Cafe. This is new for us. And this is an indoor-outdoor. It's like the Aquavit Terrace, except it's meant to flow into the Aquavit Terrace. So this is where you'll have some of the cooking demonstrations and indoor-outdoor dining. So maybe you don't want to spend, 2 hours having a 5-course meal, and you want to grab something quick. This is going to be the spot for you. So this is the indoor part of the River Cafe. And then it will flow onto the Aquavit Terrace. So that's indoor-outdoor too. And here you'll have this station as a cooking demonstration or a cooking class, or just to have our buffet style. So it moves to the Aquavit Terrace, and as you can see, we're moving outdoors. So this is a complete outdoor space. And then it overlooks the infinity pool. So it comes onto the sun deck, and there's our beautiful infinity pool. So it's meant to flow from the Explorer's Lounge. So let's look at our staterooms. We really modeled these staterooms after our award-winning Viking Ocean staterooms. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So we tend to go with the same configuration, the same color scheme, which is beautiful. And I'm going to start with our French balconies because we dedicated all of these 8 to ADA accessible. No inside cabins, of course. They're all picture window. This French balcony, the door can open. Of course, you just can't step out, but you can open if you want to get fresh air. And of course, it's floor to ceiling. We did dedicate all 8 of these, 301 square feet, to ADA accessible. Then this is our lead-in category, Veranda and Deluxe Veranda, 268 square feet. So as you can see, the color scheme, everything looks, also the heated floors in the bathroom. Of course, that's our signature. Important to note, as you move up in square footage and room category, you also move up in amenities. This penthouse veranda is going to have a stocked mini bar. So maybe you won't have to have the spirits beverage package, or you don't need it. It's up to you. And Brandt Travel can help you navigate air choices and, of course, room categories. Penthouse Junior Suite, 400 square feet. Isn't that beautiful? Very sleek, very Scandinavian design. Nothing like this on the Mississippi. And then this is a new room category for us, the Terrace Suite. I love this room category because it's large, 425 square feet, but it has a double panel and it has TV on both sides. So you've got a very large veranda if you want to enjoy your veranda. There's only 7 of these, and I can tell you they're really, and then we move to our Explorer Suite. We don't have an owner suite on board. We end with our Explorer Suite, so we have a lot of space. So a little bit on the Mississippi, the length and the beam. 193 staterooms, 386 guests. So I'll end with, if you have any questions or you want to book or you're interested in this, please call Brandt Travel. I mean, they're a great partner for Viking, a great partner with the girls. And of course, you've seen me with them in all of the communities that they go to and they service. It's just a very, it's a privilege for me to work with them.
Thank you, Lori. What another inspiring destination. I sure hope you enjoyed that. Now it's time for our door prize. Here's your question. Ready? At the Mississippi's deepest point, how many feet deep is it? So again, at the Mississippi's deepest point, how many feet deep is it? I was a little surprised by this answer. Now that you've answered the question, I want to remind you again, ways to keep in touch with the Brandt Bunch during this time. Remember to like us on Facebook and share us with your friends, please. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the Mississippi River inspiring destination. We look forward to sharing more inspiring destinations with you soon. And please do remember, when the time is right and you're ready to plan travel for the future, please contact Brandt Travel so that we can provide you with the best customer service to take care of all your travel planning needs. Bye for now.